It's human nature to constantly test the limits of what we can build. But engineers seem to double down on that instinct when it comes to vehicles. With no task too big and no job too much, humans have created some of the most unimaginable vehicles to undertake huge operations. Proving that sometimes bigger really is better, let's take a look at some of the biggest vehicles ever. NASA crawler transporters. Getting a rocket from the ground into space is no easy feat. But did you ever wonder how it gets to the launch site in the first place? Well, NASA tends to take the slow and steady wins the space race route with a pair of 130-foot wide behemoth machines called crawler transporters. For over 55 years, these gigantic machines have been responsible for moving rockets and spacecraft from the Kennedy Space Center assembly building to the launch pads. Each transporter weighs almost as much as 100 Sherman tanks, clocking in at 3,150 tons and 3,300 tons each. Thanks to their enormous weight, they only travel at a speed of roughly 1 mile per hour, with a top unloaded speed of 2 miles per hour. So even if you're intimidated by their size, you could probably outwalk both crawlers with ease. But what they lack in speed, they make up for in loading capacity, with each of them able to carry 8,000 tons. That's more than 25 fully loaded Boeing 777 airplanes. They moved their first rocket way back in 1966, and the last time they were truly put to use was in 2011, moving the Space Launch System's mobile launcher. But you might see them again in 2024 when NASA's Artemis space project is due to take off. That'll be one slow step for man, one giant crawl for mankind. But if you're looking for a quicker way of getting your fact fix, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I put out new content every day, covering everything from the greatest facts and most mind-blowing stories, so you never fall behind, unlike the NASA crawlers. Now let's take a look at more colossal vehicles that'll make your jaw hit the floor. Liebherr T284 mining truck. Mining operations are some of the biggest undertakings in the world, and for the biggest projects, you definitely need the biggest trucks. This absolute beast is the Liebherr T248 mining truck. With an overall width of almost 32 feet and a height of over 27 feet, that makes this truck about as tall as a 2-story building. Also known as haul trucks, vehicles of this design are used to move huge amounts of earth or other material from one place to another, all in one go. But what's really fascinating about this particular truck is that it has one of the lowest empty vehicle weights for its gargantuan proportions. That means it weighs in around a paltry 240 tons. I say paltry only in comparison to the standard payload it can carry, which can reach 360 tons. Now that's one heck of a haul. MSC Ghoulson. With this next vehicle, I'm going to have to ask you to contain your excitement. If you need help with that, just ask the MSC Ghoulson, one of the largest container transporting ships in the world. The MSC Ghoulson can carry more than 23,000 containers on its incredibly large deck. Measuring in at 203 feet wide and 1,312 feet long, it hits the seas chock full of standard 8 feet wide shipping containers and transports them in rows of 24 across. If the same task of this scale was to be completed on land, it would require approximately 44 8,000-foot long trains. In one single voyage, the MSC Ghoulson can transport weight roughly equivalent to 47,512 cars or 2.94 million washing machines. Or if you prefer your comparisons to be a little fruitier, approximately 223 million bananas. That said, you wouldn't want to transport anything requiring a super speedy delivery this way, because the huge operational tonnage of the ship means it only has a top speed of 21 knots. That's about 24 miles per hour for those who prefer roads to oceans. But with that much cargo on board, I think I'd be happy to wait. World's largest Willys Jeep. If the saying bigger is better has any truth to it, then classic American cars are no exception to the rule. But I'm not talking about the nearly 20-foot long classic cars like the 1979 Lincoln Continental or 1973 Chrysler Imperial LeBaron. I'm looking at the bigger picture. Specifically, this picture. That right there is the world's largest working Willys Jeep replica, owned by Sheikh Hamad bin Hamdan Al Nahyan. It's approximately 4 times bigger than a standard Willys Jeep, and with a person for scale, you can see just how large that really is. Even though it looks statuesque, it is actually reportedly motorized and holds the Guinness World Record for largest motorized model car in the world. The Sheik's Instagram shows that he's a very big fan of very big motors. And for this member of the United Arab Emirates royal family, when it comes to his cars, money really is no object. He's refused to reveal how much the construction of the 20-foot replica Jeep cost, but internet sleuths claim that those giant earth mover tires are worth around $40,000 each, at least. While it stands as one of the greatest tributes to Jeep design ever created, I'm not sure how practical it would be to drive. MSC 26 helicopter. Trust the biggest country in the world to bring the biggest helicopter to the skies. While the rest of the world were building the biggest land vehicles, Russia created the 26-foot high, 110-foot long MSC 26 helicopter, putting all other choppers to shame. The maximum takeoff weight of this 8-bladed beast is around 56 tons, enough to carry 10 fully grown African elephants. Now granted, that may not seem like a lot compared to other giant machines, but compared to the American AH-64 Apache helicopter, which has a maximum takeoff weight of 23,000 pounds, there's almost 100,000 pounds of difference. With a flight range of nearly 500 miles, the MSC 26 is usually called in to help deliver large payloads to hard-to-reach places. Its day-to-day work usually sees it transporting planes and other smaller helicopters, like this Chinook back in 2002, but it can also be used for more unusual purposes. How unusual? Well, it once helped haul a 23,000-year-old frozen woolly mammoth out of the Siberian tundra. If that's not the most Russian thing you've ever seen, let me know what is in the comments below. Hitachi EX80006. There are some jobs that are always going to require a little more power than one man and a shovel. And for those jobs, the pros call in the Hitachi EX8000-6. This humongous mining excavator, seen here working at a coal mining plant in Mozambique, measures in at over 70 feet long when fully extended. That giant shovel is designed to carry over 170,000 pounds of material, which is like trying to lift the Endeavour space shuttle. Now, this vehicle may be capable of lifting humongous amounts of weight, but it definitely wasn't built for speed. With the track-based travel device able to top out at just 1.2 miles per hour, you certainly can't use this thing for a drag race. But instead of favoring speed, the machine's lower rollers and track shoes have been designed to keep its giant body stable, which on its own weighs around 800 tons. That's about the same as 4 Statues of Liberty. Now that's what I call a monument to heavy lifting. Overburden Conveyor Bridge F60. Looking at the overburden conveyor bridge F60, you might be mistaken for thinking someone tipped the Eiffel Tower on its side. But with a length of 1,647 feet, the F60 is actually longer than the Eiffel Tower is high. It's been out of commission for almost 30 years. But what exactly did this gigantic steel colossus do? Well, it was a piece of mining equipment designed to remove the layer of dirt and rock lying above the seam of coal in a strip mine. With its cutting edge set 60 meters above the ground, giving it the name F60, it stood taller than an 18-story building. In its heyday, the conveyor belts you can see here carried dirt across the bridge to the opposite end, where it was transferred into dump trucks. It was able to convey over 1 million cubic meters of dirt per hour, weighing around 55,000 tons. That's enough to fill up a soccer field to a height of 26 feet. But this steel behemoth didn't stay still while it did this. The structure rested on a 2-wheeled chassis that could ride stretches of very narrow gauge rail, slowly moving the entire structure along the seam. They were strong enough to carry the 13,600-ton structure as well as all that dirt. Finally, something they might be able to transport your mother around on. ETF MT240. The Slovenian company ETF are known for making some of the largest pieces of mining equipment in the world, and the MT240 is no exception. While it's currently still in development, when it hits the market, this gigantic mining haul truck will reach over 24 feet in height, 22 feet in width, and 70 feet in length. That'll make it longer than the Belaz 75710, the biggest mining haul truck in the world. But it's not just about size, it's how you use it. Am I right, guys? Because while the new MT240 boasts an impressive payload of 218 tons, the Belaz 75710 can carry a staggering 496 tons. However, the MT240 has a few tricks up its mechanical sleeves that may put it ahead of the competition. First, its dump cycle will involve a swiveled hoist system so the truck can dump its load off 90 degrees to the side, making it easy to unload on tight roads. And second, its 10 massive wheel groups will work on 5 different axle lines, giving it greater off-road capabilities. Taking all that into consideration, which one do you think is the bigger and better dump truck? Let me know in the comments. T1 Class Supertanker. Over the decades, most of the biggest ships in the world have been mammoth-sized oil tankers, but the largest of them still in operation are the T1 Class Supertankers. This class of seriously big tankers consists of 4 mega machines named T1 Africa, T1 Asia, T1 Oceania, and T1 Europe. Built around 2002 and 2003, they each have a gross tonnage of 234,006 tons, allowing them to haul almost 111 million gallons of crude oil. To make that even dirtier than it already sounds, that'd be the same as watching oil gush over Niagara Falls for about 2.5 minutes. With all that oil sloshing about beneath the deck, these enormous tankers don't exactly hurry to arrive at their destinations. As such, their top speed when fully laden is just 16.5 knots, which would be like traveling at 19 miles per hour in a land speed vehicle. That means shipping routes like this one, which someone in a car could easily travel in just under 3 hours, take these giant ships around 28 hours to complete. Very slow and very steady as she